Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Core Racing Network. Tonight, the Core GT Series heads to Circuit des Spa-Francorchamps over here in Belgium. And as you can see, you can't see. It is very, very foggy out there tonight, and it certainly gets a little bit better once you're down, you know, kind of ground level, and in these cars, it's not quite as bad. So we'll obviously we'll be able to see the cars once we get down there to the camera angles. But a very, very you know, fun track, but it can certainly come up and bite you. And it's got to be a track where you need to excuse me, you need to put the car in the right spots at the right time. You need to enter these corners at the right angle to keep the most amount of speed. You can certainly get around this track, but getting around this track fast is another story. So these guys will certainly have their hands full. Carl Hamrick joined in the booth tonight by Mark Thomas and also by Jimmy Covert. So we'll start with you, Mark. Spa-Francorchamps, we've said it many times that it holds a nice little place near and dear to our hearts from winning the 24-hour here at one point. But what is it about Spa that you really like?
I mean, I think it's just an iconic racetrack, to be honest with you, Carl. It's, I mean, it is just unique in every aspect. It's got everything that you could ever want from a racetrack. It's got those slow chicanes, it's got those twists and turns, it's got that fast flow running. I mean, it's got the iconic names, you know, Rouge, Radion, you know, Touillon, No Name. I mean, they're all, there's a lot of the tracks that have taken corners have taken the, you know, the corner layout from this place because it is just iconic. It's got everything that you could ever want from a racetrack and more. But it's just a shame that you can't see it.
Absolutely, it'll certainly be fun for these drivers out there. Jimmy, I know you've been trying to get back here, still on the mend from the surgery and everything like that. So I know you're going to try and get out there and get a couple laps in just to slowly work those core muscles back into place. No pun intended. But how is it feeling out there in the LMP3?
Carl, I mean, after the first lap, when the tires eventually get warm, because the car's tight on the first lap, but after the first lap, tire warms up, the car just sticks, and it's really all about how far and how much you can push these cars on the brakes, as they are very sensitive on the brakes and very sensitive downshifting going down through the gears. So you might catch a few people off guard if they haven't practiced too much, probably myself, spinning the back end around, trying to just push the car a little bit more, as much as possible. The straightaway speeds and the LMP3s or the GT3s, they're matched, so it's going to be interesting. I've talked with some of the drivers already about just basically if an LMP3 comes up on you and you guys are going to go in a corner, just don't fight it. And then LMP3 is slightly faster, just let them go by, get their toe, take that extra speed, you probably gain some time, and not to battle through some of the corners. The LMP3s also have to take notice of the GT3s and, you know, be careful because you're not going to pull away real quick on the GT3s real quickly unless you're in a series of a bunch of turns. So, but it should be great racing out here. It's not as bad on the ground, like you said, with the fog as it is up in the air down from the blimp view. But right now it looks like looks like the practices or qualifying is over. So I'll be starting in the back, get these guys rolling here. Hopefully single file start until after, as soon as we go up to the Camel Straight, then everybody should be good to go. Yeah, did you need to hop over there and make the announcement before we get going here? Yeah, I haven't done that yet, so let me mute myself and make sure they know.
All right, sounds like a plan. So, yeah, these guys are done with qualifying and taking a look at the times on the boards there. Really just looking at the speeds. The top speed of the GT3s were clocking in at the like 164, 165, where the fastest I've seen in the LMP3 is 158. So the GT3s are faster. They are straight up faster, but the LMP3s just have better cornering. They have better downforce getting through there, and they will have an ultimately a faster lap, but not by much. These guys are over 2 minutes for their qualifying time and for their laps around here, and only separated by about 4 seconds from the top speed, top time for the LMP3s compared to the GT3s. So we'll go ahead and bring up the results from our session here. For some reason, I can't get it up on my screen, so I'll have to finagle that. But in the meantime, you guys can see it, and that is going to be Matthew Goring on top of the boards with a 2:14.168. David Tilford in second, Chris Hamilton in third, David Tamir in fourth, and then your points leader Mason Smith is going to be starting fifth, Jimmy Covert in sixth position. Then switching over to the GT3 class. On the pole is going to be Hector Colazzo with a 2:18.073. Kyle Kaskin second, Dane Simpson, Tyler Kokeko, and Dominique Ford, your top five. You got Parks De La Cruz, Michael Moore Jr., Wyatt Smith, John Nominger, and Tim Thompson round out your top 10. Craig Potter, Derek Booker, Terry Jansen round out your guys that took times. You got Michael Viglio starting 14th. 15th, Matt Crockett. 16th is B. Vishwasham, and 17th is A.J. Chantry. So we are getting ready to get this thing going here and fired up. I'm going to try and reload this thing here, and hopefully it decides to start showing up on my side, so it makes it a little easier for me. You guys can see it on your screen, but I want to see it too. I want to enjoy this too, but looks like we are green flag racing here, and we'll take you up to the LMP3s already going down into turn one. Matthew Goring leading these guys off the start.
Yeah, it should be interesting. The first time, tires are going to be cold. That fog's probably going to be playing a little bit of havoc with the tyre build-up right now. So this could get really interesting. We'll just have to wait and see exactly who manages to do what, and the slipstream's going to be big as they come through Radion and Eau Rouge on the Camel. So we're just going to have to wait and see. But it looks like Hector Colazzo has decided that he's not waiting at all, and he is going to make a bolt for the lead and just see if anybody can go with him. If I'm looking through, I'm cutting, my eyes are cutting through the fog here, Cole. I can just about see the bright orange car of Hector Colazzo as he turns into the first of the chicanes.
Yeah, and I'd love to go through these names and Americanize it and just watch Mark's head just explode, calling these corners the wrong thing, like O-Rogue and Redillon and and Bruxelles and everything like that. Just to hear his voice just start cracking and just wanting to try and strangle me through the mic. But yeah, I mean, we've been here plenty of times, and certainly at least I know how to pronounce it. I'll probably still screw up and I'll still make some mistakes, but a lot of these corners very well for the guys that have driven any kind of road racing, Spa, these corners, and sometimes for worse than for better, some of these corner names. But a good start here for Hector Colazzo. But we'll take a look over at the LMP3 field. As the beginning of the race, we already have a pass for the lead, and it is David Tilford out front here. We'll take a look back and see how that pass was ultimately made. And you see coming down the Kemmel Straight, already making the move, and goes to the inside end of Lacombe's, and easy as you like, as Goring actually drops 2 spots there before he was able to battle back and get back around Hamilton. You see it right here. A great pass and a great dive up the inside. Take it back live now, and you see a nice, comfortable lead here for David Tilford. So a good start by him. Really trying to stretch out, trying to get away from these guys. He's already got about a second and a half on both Goring and Hamilton and the rest of the field. Mason Smith still stuck towards the back there in 5th place.
Yeah, Tilford looks like he's actually got this thing absolutely locked down. Very, very smooth. It looks like he's absolutely got this thing nailed. The car looks controlled, doesn't look any squirrely under braking. Seems to be decided that out front and away is where he wants to be, and he certainly looks to be making that work. With Goring and Hamilton now trying to battle it out, he's probably trying to make a gap here for himself, just so that he's got a bit of security.
So take a look real quick at the standings coming in here as these guys are running, and a couple of key names not here in attendance. As for the LMP3s, you got Mason Smith, your point leader, by 1 single point over Chris Hamilton coming into the night. Obviously, Chris, having qualified up there in 3rd place, will actually have the points lead to start this race. Alex Carver not in attendance here tonight, so that's going to give David Tilford a chance to reel him in a little bit. Obviously, Carver having the 2 drop races. Gonna most likely use one for last week and then one for tonight. But the other one is your points leader in the GT3, not here tonight, off doing some family things. So hopefully he's tuning in on the sly without telling the family, and watching this race here tonight. As in the bottom of the screen there, we see Matthew Goring going off, and we'll show you exactly what happened coming down into the bus stop. Pressure from Chris Hamilton, and I don't think there was any contact. It looked like it was just under braking, and yeah, losing it under braking. Keeps it off of everything, but he's going to lose all the positions and all the time. I'm going to need to fight back here.
And that was exactly what Jimmy was talking about earlier.
While Mark is dealing with some mic issues, we'll take a look back and just show you it again without the standings up there this time, and show you exactly what happened here to Matthew Goring. Again, under braking here for the bus stop. The back end just kicks out. He does a good job just locking it up, getting it off the track. There's a nice little runoff there at the bus stop, and gets it back on the track. Chris Hamilton doing a good job of avoiding the wreck as well. As we take a look back up front now, and it is David Tilford out there to a 1.7 second lead, but Hamilton now in 2nd, and Mason Smith is in 3rd place. So he's already moved up there to the front. Looks like we had a couple other issues here. Losing our co-commentator here, and it looks like Jimmy Covert, Matthew Goring.
He's slow going to that turn.
Covert just getting a little bit spicy, a little up to the back there of Goring, but good thing about the kitty litter here in iRacing, you don't get stuck in it. Not like in real life, you don't get beached.
That's very, very true, Carl. Is that any better?
Yep, you're back now.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's the back of when we watched Jimmy Covert come in, the back of that shot I actually saw hectic on us, so right there. So the gap between the GT3s and the LMPs is really not that big at all. As a matter of fact, yeah, it only takes one slight mistake from the LMPs, and they could very much fall into the clutches of the GT3 cars.
Yeah, right now only about 6-second difference between the back of the LMP3s and the front of the GT3s, and unfortunately, looks like Matthew Goring having another issue here, and the bus stop claiming him again, or not, or actually, okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. Coming out, just the tires maybe not cooled off enough yet, but he gets it righted and get back going. Fortunately, a bigger crash for one of our Canadians here in the field, and that is Dane Simpson coming down into Leon, and hard impact right there. Good thing this is virtual, because that car is not going anywhere, and unfortunately that could very well be the night for Dane Simpson. Mark, you got some issues again on your end? Oh, there we go. It's back. It's back. Every once in a while, you just go through a little roboting. So it is Hector Colazzo up here to a 3.5-second lead over Pal Casca, and Casca really trying to take advantage of the fact that Tim Ponzi is not here tonight. Obviously, Ponzi will be able to... Yep, there, you're back now.
Yeah, sorry, I lost you there for a second, Carl.
Okay.
I was just going over through the live chat, and Barry was saying that he's sure it's not the smoke coming from the fire in Canada. It might very well be, but I'm pretty sure that reason why Dane should be used to that by now. So I'm pretty sure that wasn't what caused his little off track.
So a lot of opportunities here with Bonzi not here again. You know, just like Alex Garver will be able to use the the drop weeks here and not have to take a 0-point race. But you know, it's still very interesting to miss a race like this and you know, still be in the hunt. You throw one of your chances away to just have a bad week. You know, granted, I'm not family comes first, plain and simple. I totally don't blame them, but it's going to get very interesting here when it comes to the end of the season. Again, we round number 9 here tonight. So after tonight, only 3 more races in the schedule. Of course, the double points 2-hour finale looms very closely in the distance here, and just certainly will probably end up crowning one, if not both, of our class champions. But Chris Hamilton now having a little bit of an issue too, as he was running down David Tilford, got very close, and the bus stopped, claiming another victim, locking it up going in. Mason Smith sneaking by on the inside, and David Tamira going around on the outside. Chris Hamilton doing a very, very good gentlemanly thing right there, just keeping it locked down, letting everybody get by, but that has certainly cost him a bunch of time in a couple positions.
Yeah, very true, very true. It's going to be tricky now, and you see him weaving to and fro, trying to get some heat back in those tires.
So Mark, what makes this track so difficult? I mean, obviously every track has its own little quirks here and there, but I mean, what are the tricky spots here at Spa? What do you need to be worried about as Hector goes a little bit sideways going through the hairpin there?
It's one of those tracks where it's very easy to go off. You can get a lot of off tracks here, and you're so desperate to keep that speed up. You're so desperate to keep that corner speed going, but it tends to make you overshoot. And there's a lot of very big braking zones and very heavy stops. So you know, coming up into that chicane, you're very hard on the brakes, and you want a good line in there. So you want to try and carry as much speed as you can through. And Berchemont, there's another tricky corner. It doesn't look it. It just looks like a nice gentle left. But when you're flat out in fifth, you know, trying to turn in at 6 and getting the car turned in there, it doesn't take much for that car to get a little unsettled and just want to push wide, and then you try and gather it up, and the back end brakes, because the curves, although they don't look very aggressive, they can unsettle the car if you're not careful.
Some new paint schemes out here by some of these guys, just taking you through the field here of the GT3s, and some good looking ones at that, as we have a few guys that we haven't seen for a while, like Craig Potter up there and doing well up in the 4th position here for the GT3s. Newcomer Wyatt Smith is up there as well in the 7th position. And Derek Booker doing a pretty good job up there in 6th as well. It's certainly early in the race yet, but I think a good job by a lot of these guys here in the beginning.
Pushing on and trying to make this work. Yeah, it's going to be challenging. There's a lot of I can't see diddly squat right now.
Yeah, of course I switched to guys that are out of the race right now, so we'll move back over to guys that are still in the race.
Yeah.
And you kind of see the speed and downforce difference there going through Pouillon. How much quicker the LMP3s get through there than the GT3s as we were watching them go through.
Yeah, very much so.
So Chris Hamilton has righted the ship here a little bit. Already got past Matthew Goring and starting to get up there. Unfortunately, it looks like we might have lost our newcomer here tonight. Wyatt Smith getting a little wobbly, and hard impact there on the top, and then another impact right there.
Does the right thing. Pulls it out. That's going to be tricky to get out from there, especially on the exit of Radion. It is very difficult.
Matthew Goring not giving up here, and these guys are going to do battle again into the bus stop. Hamilton locking it up here a bit. Goring trying to get a good exit here and stick with him. And this would be a good battle if he can stay with him through La Source here, turn number 1, and get the good run down through Eau Rouge, Radion, and up to the Kemmel Straight. We'll see. Nice tight turn.
Good drive.
Hamilton goes a little wide. Goring keeps on the inside very nicely, and almost maybe too good a drive here is he's going to catch him by the time they get to Eau Rouge, and that's not when you want to catch him right here because it kills all your momentum. You got to roll up there, and now he's got to try and get a good run down the backstretch. Hamilton protecting the inside, so Goring is going to go around the outside, heading down the Kemmel Straight. He's going to back out, and very nice pass there from Goring as he will take back over 4th place heading into Lacombe's.
Great bit of driving there from Goring. Superb run there coming, as you say, from out of La Source and just running it up through. He's wide. God, that's tough there from out of Les Combs. This is just tricky little. And the Pouillard can keep it to the left.
I gotta say one thing, these cars, even though you can see about half of them with this fog out here, these cars do look very good going around this track. It just seems like a track that really fits this high downforce type of car, these prototypes. It looks like a fantastic drive out there.
Yeah, I'm actually a little jealous as it looks like Hamilton probably just how much downforce is required because it runs just a little wide coming out of Stavelot. Oh, it's tough. It's really tough. But look at that, just flat out. Didn't even seem to drift out to the outside. That big speed pushing those cars into the track.
Yeah, flat out all the way down and not catching up to Parks de la Cruz at all. Yeah, the GT3 coming down there.
I was going to say, I'm curious to see what's going to happen when they get to, when they come through Radion and Eau Rouge, because they'll probably catch him as they come through, because they'll be flat. And I'm not saying that Parks will have to ease, but I mean, he's probably going to lift. But once they get onto the camel, I can actually see Parks pulling away a little bit and just waving in the rear view mirror as he disappears off into the distance.
Yeah, I mean, both these cars, you can hold it flat out through Rouge and Radion, but once you get to the top here, they're going to have to get in the draft. And I think that's what you see right here is you see Goring trying to get in the draft, trying to just get any little bit of speed. And unbelievable. I mean, they hold, basically about hold serve going up through the straightaway, but you see right there, that's where the LMP3 has the advantage, just all kinds of corner grip compared to the GT3, and gonna go to the inside here. Looks like Hamilton gonna dive to the inside as well. Both those guys gonna make it past Parks de la Cruz.
Sensible, very sensible, just letting him go. Probably gonna be useful for him, probably pick up a little bit of a tone coming through here.
So it looks like a bit of an issue. I know he's a fan favorite out here, Tyler Kokeko.
Oh.
And I believe that was through Blanchimont, if I'm not mistaken. And still losing right there.
Toe link. Yeah. Probably a rear toe link broke on that.
And he did end up driving it into the pits right after that. As we come back live, and little issue here, actually heading over to Palkasca. So the guys from 212 just getting a little spicy, just a little off track right there, and it's not going to cost you any time. If anything, you're actually going to gain a little bit of time, but you're going to get an X by going off there. And these guys only have a certain amount before they need to come through to serve a penalty, let alone the fact that the cleaner you can be, the more bonus points you get. But back to our battle at hand right here, as this is again the battle for 4th position in the LMP3 class, but we also got a battle now starting to brew here in the GT3s, and good on Terry Jansen. We may need to check and see if that's actually Cheyenne Keita in the car there tonight, as Terry or Cheyenne, either way, doing very well out here tonight. And good looking, looks like a new paint scheme there for the 78 machine. But John Nomi are getting by for 7th position. Tyler Kokeko coming up in the picture behind there, so he was able to get that car cleaned up and back out on track. But I'll tell you what, a nice sizable lead here for Hector Collazo, out to over a 6-second lead right now over Pal Casca, and out front in the LMP3s, still by 3 seconds, David Tilford.
What is the X count here for tonight, Carl?
15x is what they get before they need to come in and serve a drive-through penalty. And yes, why don't you go ahead and talk about how easy it is at Spa to get some of these X. I mean, you look at the curbs the wrong way and some of these corners, and it's giving you an X.
Yeah, I was, it's very, I have some issues with X and Spa, not that I get them, it's just that people tend to take them and use them, like they're giving away candy at Halloween, and that's kind of a problem for me, but it's very easy to get X, because as we were saying, it's very easy to get that, to get it just that little bit wide, and Spa's one of those tracks where it wants you to go wide. It encourages you. It says, look, there's more track out here. Come out here. You'll hold up more speed. Honestly, it's all fine. Everything's good. And it isn't. Too wide through.
That is not where you go too wide here on this track. Well, yeah, I'm probably going to annoy and piss off some of my Texas competitors here, where Kevin Foster and Caleb and Ricky, but I don't care what the country song says. I think all my exes live in Belgium, as there's plenty of exes that I've gotten here around this track for good or for worse. Usually it's just from pushing a little bit too hard and just going just a little bit wide in some of these corners. I mean, it's crazy how the penalty system here is set up in iRacing. I mean, you go to some tracks where you can put the entire car off the track and not getting an X. I mean, here at some of these corners, you get 2 tires off the track onto the curbing, and in some points it'll give you an X. So it's kind of weird, but you get used to it. You practice it enough, and you know where the troublesome spots are. Doesn't make it that much easier to avoid them, because you're always going to be reaching for that little extra speed.
Yeah, it's a little tricky here. I'm not sure that we have. I'm not sure that we've got the X's turned on here, because I'm looking at here at some of the guys off tracks, and there's some guys out there who have got a whole heap of off tracks, and yet they haven't been in the pits. So,
well, we've seen that before. I think the last time we came here to Spa, I think it was who was it? I'm losing my train of thought here, but we had Michael McCoy. I think it showed him as having like 70 some X when it comes to SDK, until we found out that it was just SDK was completely wrong. I think he ended up actually only having like 3 or 6, but yeah, SDK right now, I mean, just showing our leader in the GT3s, Hector Collazo, having 31X. I don't think that is correct. I would venture to say it's not correct, but we have our leader here in the LMP3s making the pit stop here, and just shy of halfway, or right about halfway. Mark, is this a scheduled pit stop? You think he's coming in? He's got that nice little lead. He wants to try and protect against the short pit.
Yeah, I think so. I think he can make it from here too. As a matter of fact, I'm absolutely sure he can make it from here. So I think that this is probably the right move. You want to come out there. You don't want to get caught up with too many other guys who are going to run along and try and undercut you. It looks like he's got good pace. It looks like he's got that thing absolutely nailed down. So all things being equal, this should be the way to go. I think that this is probably going to work out for him.
Yeah, I mean, Spa is one of those tracks where it's a large track. It's very long, and you see on the track map. I mean, we're used to seeing dots all over the track. Here, there's little gaps here and there because this track is 4.35 miles long, or 7 kilometers for the rest of the world out there. But it gives you that opportunity if you can try and figure out, okay, how long does pit stop make, or how long does pit stop take, and where am I going to file out when I come back out there. And if you can get yourself in that little gap and you get some clean air, it is just absolutely paramount. It is fantastic, especially if you're the leader, as Tilford's been in and out now. Right now, Mason Smith has the clean air, so, I mean, if you're Mason here, do you stay out? Do you enjoy this clean air and not make your pit stop yet?
Well, I mean, I would think so, because we've talked about it a couple of times before, that these LMP cars, these Le Mans prototypes, they like light fuel, they like hot tyres, so, whilst, I was going to say you can make a hay while the sun shines, but unfortunately they can't see no sun, so they're going to make hay while the fog drops. That's about as far as Mason, I'd be sticking it out and trying to get as much out of that car as I possibly can. He's in this time though. Looks like he's in.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I figured. It showed SDK was showing that he crashed. I assumed it was him just coming in the pits because for some reason SDK considers coming in the pits here at Spa a crash. But looking at the battle right now, as some of the guys in the GT3 have come into the pit, but this is the battle right now for third position, as both of these guys have yet to come in the pits. This is Craig Potter in the Ferrari. Haven't seen him out here for a little bit, so good to see. Not as fast. He's got that front end intact, and we talk about it all the time. But Dominic Ford right behind him, and Ford hasn't really shown too much pace here tonight. So kind of surprising. Outside the top 3 right now, trying to battle himself in there and trying to work his way up here. But a couple of guys now, it looks like your leaders are in the pits. So Collazo in the pits and Casca in the pits. We'll see if Potter and or Ford come in. Potter stays out, Ford in.
Yeah, and that's the usual. That's the usual setup from Craig. That Ferrari does seem to be really good on fuel. He can seem to run that car long, so I think that this is going to work out really well for him right now. If he can just keep this pace going, stretch this fuel out maybe for another lap and put him off cycle with the rest of the guys. This will give him a chance without pressure from Dominic behind. He could, work on getting a good in lap, work on getting that time down. This will give him, that little bit of bolster that he needs. He's not looking in his mirror. He's not trying to defend. If he can get a decent in that, this might separate that gap between him and Dominic.
So taking a look at our eventual battle here for the lead, as Matthew Goring is your leader right now in the LMP3, but he's yet to come into the pit, stretching this thing out. We take a look at the pit times here, and surprisingly enough, they are. Doesn't want to come up. There we go. We'll try again. Pretty equal here in regards to most of the field, but Tilford about a second quicker than Mason Smith, and that is enough to keep him out there to a almost 3 1/4 second lead over Mason Smith, as Matthew Goring now will make that right-hand turn. He is in the pit lane, so it's going to be Tilford back to the lead. And Mason Smith dropping off a bunch. I don't see that yet anything happen there, but okay, it was just maybe SDK trying to catch back up. As we'll see what it is at the line. Yeah, back to about 3 1/4 seconds here. But so far, a good race here by David Tilford, and showing that all this practice that he's been putting in is paying off. But the fastest lap of the race, that last lap by Chris Hamilton.
Yeah, I think Chris has got the bit between his teeth right now. He knows that he's got to go. He knows that the points are getting close to the top, and he needs to make this. He needs to make this happen, and he needs to make it happen now. And whilst he's got Goring behind him, actually pushing him along almost to that extent. I'm not sure that this is going to work out too well for him with Matt Goring. These two guys not been working so much together, but more been working against each other.
Yeah, it just so happens that Goring comes out right at the same time Chris is going by, so Goring is going to lose that spot, but you see he's not done yet. He had the pole here tonight. He had the speed And for lack of better words, it's about damn time. I mean, Matthew Goering has got a lot of talent. He's got a lot of speed. He's got a lot of pace, and he's one of those guys that, again, just seems to be getting in his own way more often than not, and cost himself some good finishes. But to see him out there qualifying on the pole in a field that, I mean, it's a small field. There's only 6 guys out there, but pretty much everyone out there has got the talent to get it done out here tonight. So to get a pole in the LMP3 class, not an easy feat.
No, not at all. And yeah, you make an excellent point there, Carl. An excellent point. Every single one of these LMP drivers has got the speed and the skill to make it, to make this a win for them. So it's a very, very tight, very competitive field, and a lot of these guys, it's good bragging rights if you can make it to the win of an LMP, especially with the likes of, Mason and Chris Hamilton in there. 2 well-established core drivers who are known to be really, really quick. So this is if they can make this happen, if they can make that time, then this is brilliant news for them. But this could be interesting for Tilford now, closing up on the back of the GT3 pack, just to see now with Mason actually closing in a little bit on that last lap.
Yeah, it's I was just about to say it's bad enough that Mason Smith ran the fastest lap of the race at last lap, but now Tilford coming up on GT3 cars. But GT3 cars in a battle here, as Booker is battling with Viglio in front of him, and Viglio is battling with Kokeko in front of him, as Kokeko had some issues again. But now you see Booker moves out of the way, but again, these LMP3s just don't have the pace down the front stretch, down the straightaways. Booker looks like he's going to whoa up a little bit and let your leader by, so good job there by Booker to allow David Tilford by, but now he's got Mason Smith right behind him. Smith trying to gain time through the field here, and he is certainly doing so. Only 1 second behind Tilford right now, who is still working through the field. Viglio now alongside, and nothing really Tilford can do, just a tight section here. It's hard enough battling with somebody in your class, but forces his way around the outside. I mean, you don't like to get too aggressive, but I think that's a move that he kind of had to make right there. He had to get by because Mason, as you can see, hot on his heels.
It's right on him. Yeah. But at this point, I mean, and I know that the back markers are just, they've been told to stick to their line, and, the GT3 cars, whenever you're in a slower class, and you're said, just stick to your line, don't deviate, just run your line, and we'll find a way around you because we're the faster car. But that is true. That is what you're meant to do. But at the same time, in that situation, you are desperate for that GT3 car just to give you that little glimmer of hope, just to give you that little trace of line. But this should be
side by side now, heading into Blanchimont.
Blanchimont.
And it is going to be Mason Smith, your new leader here in the LMP3 class, but Tilford going to send it up the inside. Little fake there, locks it up a bit. He's going to fall back in line, but you see he lost a little bit in between the corners there at the bus stop. He's got to latch back on to Mason Smith and keep it in there for the draft, and at least keep it close enough to have a chance down through the Kemmel Straight. And a good job entering the corner, keeps it nice and tight. And right about the same, you see that time just ticking down a little bit, still within the draft of Mason Smith.
Yeah, this is where he's going to run. He wants to be like flat through like Rouge and Radion. He wants to keep that toe in check, because this is going to be that time where he's going to be able to pull on that big wash from the downforce of that LMP3 in front of him. It's only going to pull him up closer and closer and closer, because he's splitting the draft now. And you see the gap just dropping down, dropping down, dropping down.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen going through the source turn number 1, he was about 3/4 of a second behind. By the time we get down to the end of the Kemmel Straight, he's less than a half a second behind, but already Mason Smith pulling out a gap. Tilford needs to have some help here from the lap cars, and there's only one lap car in the near vicinity, and that's right in front of him. The 44 of John Nobinger running in 5th right now, doing a good job in the GT3 class, but they come now down into Puyan, and this could be where Mason Smith maybe gets held up a little bit, and indeed he does. It allows David Tilford to close in just a little bit, down to about a half a second. But now they've got clear sailing for quite some time until they catch the next lap car.
Yeah, this is very true. And now this is where Tilford's going to have to get his head down. He's going to want to focus. He doesn't want to get too wrapped up with trying to, trying to intimidate Mason. Best thing you can do right now is just tag along, trace his lines out, follow him round, just let him drag you up to the next opportunity that you can make a pass. And round here, that's probably going to be when you catch up to some of the GT3 field. That's a little way away. So right now, David's best, I think, David's best option, unless Mason makes a mistake.
Looks to the inside again and gonna back out, but a little bit better corner, a little bit exit this time. As he doesn't get the power down. Yeah, a little bit rough there. Now he's gonna have to fight. He's gonna have to keep within a second of Mason here just to keep it close. And it's almost like, if you watch Formula One, they got to keep within a second for the DRS. That's what David Tilford needs to do to keep within the draft zone right now. And did a good job there going through the source, a better exit out of the source than Mason Smith. So he's going to close it back in within drafting range and at least get a little bit of a toe, but he's got to keep it clean through Lacombe's. And you see Mason Smith already trying a little bit of evasive maneuvers here to try and break the draft, but you see by the time they're down at the end of the Kemmel Straight, down to 0.6 of a second. But this was where Mason Smith was able to pull away a little bit last time.
Yeah, Mason looking really quick through the column and up in towards Brussels. Wide there, he's running that wide line and trying to get that car to cut back in. And she's giving him the exit as he's coming, but he runs that car wide as they come from no name.
And while we're looking at this, we've got a battle for third place as Goring has not let Chris Hamilton stretch out at all, and now they've got the lap car of, I believe, is that Park Sela Cruz or Teleco Keiko, and they go through Puyan. A good job there getting around the lap car, but this battle is even tighter than your battle for the lead.
I think that was Keiko. I believe I heard him over the radio saying that he wasn't gonna contest. He was gonna just let himself drift to the outside, which is exactly what the drivers needed to hear. They knew where they could put their cars. They knew they could move up to the inside.
We are down to under 10 minutes left in this race already. It has flown by here tonight for round number 10 of the Core GT series presented by Pointer Motor Supplies. And again, if you have any AMSOIL needs, whether it's for personal use, commercial use, or you want to become an AMSOIL dealer yourself, please get in touch with Kelly Pointer from Pointer Motor Supplies, and he will get you set up with whatever you need. But here we go now, another lap car for these guys, and it is John Nobinger to deal with. And Nobinger's got to be thinking, I just let a battle go by for the lead. Now I got to let a battle go by for third, but he's going to tuck in line here through the source, and now they're battling side by side. This is going to be bad for somebody, I think. It looks like Nobinger's going to slide in line. He's going to get behind Chris Hamilton. Now we get to see the GT3 draft the LMP3, and I'm just going to sit back, laugh, and watch this right here.
Well, I think that the GT3 is probably going to come on now. Now the LMP's moved over for the GT3, and the GT3's going, well, thanks very much, because this is just going to, well, he must have backed out.
Yeah, cheeky move there from Chris Hamilton to not just break the draft of Matthew Goring, but also give the draft to John Nobinger and keep him alongside. But that's not going to shake Goring from the back at all, as they're still battling very closely. And David Tilford not letting Mason Smith go either, as there's still about 3/4 of a second in between them. Taking a look back at the GT3 field, about to have a battle again for the top three. We got Craig Potter in third right now, but Dominique Ford wants it and has closed the gap to under a half a second, heading in through Blanchimont. And he's got a good run here. Another corner that you can run wide, but you can get a penalty for running wide right there. But getting very close here, heading into the bus stop, as we're coming up on the final few laps here, Mark. Again, these laps are, about 2.25 minutes long. So, realistically, you're not going to have too many more laps left.
well, we're at 38 minutes, 38 and a half minutes. So, you know, 2, maybe 3 if you're you know, really lucky. But yeah, I mean, these guys are now going to start. It's all going to start getting that little bit spicy. They're going to start pushing for those moves because, you know, you really don't want to be in the back here. You want to try and Craig Potter moving to the side, just trying to break that toe.
And it's not happening. Dominic Ford looking to the inside. Not going to get it done as they head through the combs there. Good job by both these drivers. Ford right on the back here. And man, what a battle here. And there's battles across the board. You see the timing and scoring up there. The battle for the lead overall is down to a quarter second. And Tilford has got a run coming down the Kemmel Straight. He's going to sneak out side by side heading into the combs. David Tilford going around the outside. Not going to get the grip, but it's going to cause both those guys to lose a bit of time on each other. And we might as well take a look at the next guys, as that one's a little bit more civil going through there, as Goring's still right behind Hamilton. So we'll head back to our GT3 battle. And Potter blinking out here a little bit. Don't want to see that. But Ford right on the back there. Mercedes versus Ferrari.
I mean, we knew it was going to. He's always good racing at Spa. We knew there was going to be good racing. I didn't expect it to be quite this good, though. I have to admit. I mean, I knew there was going to be some good battles, but these are just some absolutely phenomenal battles.
Ford now again closes it to about a quarter second, heading through Blanchimont and down towards the bus stop. Does he go for a bit of a fake again? Now he's going to stay in line and just try and get a good run through the bus stop. Potter does not get a good run through the bus stop. He's going to get a little shaky coming out, and it's down to a quarter second. And this is where it gets a little interesting. I mean, if you're Potter here, Mark, do you think about just letting Dominique go by and using the draft? Doesn't look like he's going to let him by easy, as they're side by side coming out of the source. But now Ford is going to tuck back in line. He's going to have a great run through Eau Rouge and up through Radeon, and this could be the run that he needs to get by into third.
Makes that car really right now. What's Craig going to do? Is he going to just...
Very cheeky there, but Dominique uses the grass to get alongside, heading down into Lacoste. Not going to get it done. What defending by Craig Potter right there. That was masterclass right there, to quote my my fellow commentator. Unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact Dominique taking to the grass to try and get that move done. As bold, we've talked previously here quite a bit of how slippery that grass is. So that was a real ballsy move there from Dominique. Some great defending there from Craig. Both running really wide on the exit now. But I just want to have a quick flick up to the top. Matt Goring putting in his fastest lap last lap.
He did indeed, but I'm showing that he crashed. I'm trying to figure out what happened. There we go. Now it's showing it as just crossing the line, completing his fastest lap and getting ever so closer to Chris Hamilton, and loses it going through the source. And that right there will most likely cost him a chance at a podium. Great run here tonight from Goring, and just a little mistake like that is what could cost you. He's going to need some help now from the rest of the guys in front of him. But we get back to the battle at hand as we'll go back over to Dominique Ford, but it is Craig Potter holding on to the top three right now, third position. And these guys should be getting the white flag, not this time by, as they're a bit ahead of the leader here. So I don't think Barney's gonna be waving the green or the white flag this time. And a little sideways there from Potter coming out of the corner. It's going to give Dominique another run headed down into La Source.
He's going to have to really make this count. But like Craig got really good drive coming out of there, though. Slightly different line from Dominic coming in lower. Whereas Craig seeming to take that slightly later apex, trying to get that Ferrari squared up and squirted out of that corner. I don't know. I don't think that Dominic's close enough to make it work for him this time.
And they got a lap car coming up here as they got Tim Thompson up in front of them. So where will he come into the mix? Where will they catch him? And will it play a part here in the win? Your leader here in the LMP3 class, Mason Smith, is running the fastest lap of the race that last lap, and he extends his lead now out to about 1.4 seconds over David Tilford. So that seems to have settled down just a little bit, at least for the time being. But I believe we should be on the final lap here. We'll try and take a look at the front stretch if I can find it. Yeah, I'm just getting confirmation there from Jimmy. We're on the last lap as Derek Booker losing it right in front of these guys. Take a look at that as these guys head down into Pouillon. This was through the hairpin and then heading down into No Name, just losing again. You see that BMW just a little worse for wear, unfortunately. But man, what a battle here through Stavelot and heading into another very, very fast section of the track. Heading down into Blanchimont, still behind Tim Thompson right now are these two. Potter goes extremely wide, and that may cost him. No, he gets back on track and still just ahead of Dominique, but I think Dominique's going to try and set him up here for a bit of a run down into the bus stop. Very close here, about a quarter second in between these two. Tim Thompson stays over to the left-hand side. These guys are going to battle down into the bus stop. Still nothing yet, but Potter goes a little deep. And the run to the line here, white flag in the air from Barney. You see him on your right side. Actually, it's showing the checker flag, but yeah, that is not the checker flag for these guys as late move there into the source. These guys are going to come out side by side again. Now the question is, Mark, who backs out? It looks like Dominique Ford has a bit of a run, and I think if you're Potter here, you just back out and you get the run down the Kemmel, and that's what he's going to do. Falls in line through Eau Rouge, up into the Kemmel straight, but
got the drive through radio through Eau Rouge that he was looking for.
He absolutely does not.
No, I think he's left a little bit on the table as he's come out of radio. This is going to be tricky now.
They head into Lacombe's as your LMP3 field has completed here, as it's going to be Mason Smith, your winner, as Potter right there. He's still trying to dig. But Mason Smith, your winner in the LMP3. David Tilford, Chris Hamilton, your podium spots. Matthew Gomering coming home in fourth. David Tamira and Jimmy Covert going to round out the field. Hector Colazzo didn't show him too much here in the race, but he has dominated once again. He's going to be 3 for 3 here on the season. And right now out to about a 14.5 second lead. Still has yet to cross the line, but he's got this thing well in hand and sending a bit of a message to the rest of this GT3 field, saying that if he's going to show up the rest of the season, this championship may not be out of the reach yet for the O2.
Yeah, very true. It's he's been very, very, very quick out there. I'm not quite sure what STK's doing, but yeah, I think this is another case of where that track knowledge has come in, because it certainly seems to have paid dividends tonight.
It looks like this battle has finally calmed down a bit, and Potter unfortunately is going to lose the war here. Certainly won a lot of the battles, but Dominique Ford is going to get it done. What a epic battle by a lot of these guys out here tonight. Spa certainly gave us a fantastic race here, and these guys really showed out. It is going to be Colazzo getting the win here in the GT3s. Casca is going to bring it home in second place. This was your battle here to the line for third, and it is going to be Dominique Ford crossing the line there, taking the checkered flag. Can we just come back to Spa next week, Mark?
Yeah. So I was just looking over at the live chat with Cody Jacobs going, fantastic finish coming. Yeah, it was. Barry TK going, yeah, and BGR 33 Potter looking like the Minister of Defence. Very true, actually. That's a really good way of putting it. Hell of a battle between Potter and Ford. Yeah, it really was. Phenomenal drive between both drivers.
Mark, we are 9 races through the season now, only 3 left to go. Obviously, the last race of the season kind of acting as 2 races in one, as that is 2-hour finale there, double points. So a lot still on the line for these guys, but Road Atlanta is going to be the next one up, Suzuka, and then that 2-hour finale at Red Bull Ring. And I'm ready to just tell these guys, let's just fire up Road Atlanta here tonight. Let's get back at it, because I'm still pumped. These guys put on a hell of a performance.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this is why we come to Spa. This is one of the reasons why we come to these tracks, and why this series is so popular. Because look at the amount of racing that there was out there tonight, throughout the field, through LMPs, through first, second, third, fourth, second and third in the in the GT3 class, all through the field. There was just battles, because that's what a racetrack like Spa can bring you. It's so open, it's so flowy. You've got that brilliant mix of high speed and corners and everything that you would need to make a racetrack a great racetrack. And you can see why it is known as one of the kings of the racetrack.
So we will go ahead and rewind this thing a little bit and start bringing in our top 3 finishers, and we'll go ahead and start with 3rd place. And Mark, why don't you go ahead and talk to our 3rd place finisher in the LMP3 field, the 64 of Chris Hamilton.
Chris, Mark up here in the booth. How are you, my friend?
I got you guys.
You don't sound as happy as I was hoping that you were going to sound. Did it not quite go out to plan there, my friend?
No, for a lack of a better term, I am absolutely holding my tongue right now. That was a horrible display of driving by me. Yes, I got 3rd, but my biggest competitor right now won the race.
Gotcha. Yeah, we kind of touched on that very, very briefly up here in the booth, and it was always going to be tough to hold Mason off. But I'm not quite sure what happened or what the situation was that enabled him to make that breakaway. But I can imagine that you're not best pleased with the things as they are right now.
I mean, it was no one else but myself. That's what it comes down to. I had a lapse of judgment under braking, almost hit David, spun myself out, killed the car. I had to wait until I was absolutely sure I can make it, take the faster pair, and try to recover. And it's the best I can do right now is 3rd. It's not a happy 3rd, I'll take it, but it's almost a force down my throat, because that might have been the championship. I don't know yet. We'll find out.
Yeah, that's very true. And did you take any damage in that spin? Was that the issue that you couldn't that you lost that little bit of speed? Did you take some damage?
I did take some damage. I locked him up, and then I stayed in place because I saw Mason and David come in. So I was like, okay, I just hold it here for a second, find the opening, go. And unfortunately, the car had a little bit of damage from some altercations. I don't know what it did to David's car or Mason's, but it just kind of hindered the progress there. So it's making do with what I can on a bad night. But we'll just move on to next week.
Well, I will say it was still an impressive display. The fact that you came back and like you and Matt were going at hammer and tong for the longest time. Some impressive just driving by the pair of you. I was mightily impressed because knowing how downforce dependent these cars are, having any kind of damage disrupting the airflow can make a big difference. So all credit to all of the LMP drivers and you and Matt and for giving us such a good display, and you made quite the talking point up here in the booth.
Yeah, I shouldn't have finished third, but I'll take it. Huge shout out to Goring. He did a fantastic job. He had my number tonight. It's just unfortunate that he spun out coming into the hairpin. And huge shout out to all the other guys. They don't make it easy. And thank you guys for the broadcast.
Okay then, my friend. You take care now, Chris.
Take care, guys.
At your third place finish here tonight, in the LMP3 field, the 64 of Chris Hamilton. Now we'll move on to our second place finisher, and that is going to be the 12 of David Tilford.
Hey.
David, Mark up here in the booth. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, I thought you might be. Yeah, that was one hell of a race from you there, my friend. Absolutely superb.
Thanks. I appreciate that. It was really fun battling, and man, I was sweating the whole time. When you have Mason behind you, less than 5 seconds, and any small mistake, and you're just gonna get swallowed up. So unfortunately, what did me in the end was just a little traffic. Caught it at the wrong moment, and couldn't get by. So oh well. Try to get him next time.
Yeah, but considering the amount of experience Mason has, and he's been doing this a while, and I wouldn't say that you're new, but you're still relatively new to these LMP cars, and to even to running this kind of class car. That's still an impressive display. You stayed with him for the longest time. It must have been at least 3 or 4 laps where the gap seemed to come up to like 0.7 of a second, and then drop back down to half a second, where he couldn't seem to break the toe. But as you were saying, GT3 traffic or traffic in general, just falling in line a little bit from Mason and just leaving you a little bit out in the lurch. It was unfortunate, but still a great race.
Yeah, it was a great race, and man, that one I had a chance to maybe pass him through at Lacombe, but I didn't want to pull a Lewis Hamilton Alonso 2022 and end up with us both damaged. So I let out and let him around the outside there, but man, it was close and it was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Just proving to the rest of the field that you're up there. You've got the speed. You can compete with the best of them, and I think you made a stamp out for yourself here this evening. And I think some of these drivers will be looking at you in a slightly different light in the near future. But before I let you go, there, my friend, is there anybody who you want to give a shout out to?
Just everyone that showed up and raced tonight, and you guys up in the booth as always. You do a great job. I can't wait to watch this one back and see all the other action on the track. And for my family, or to my family, for letting me do this thing. And just thank you all again.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, that is your second place finisher here tonight, the 12 of David Tilford. And now finally we'll bring in your winner here tonight. It certainly wasn't easy, but the 6 of Mason Smith.
Mason, Mark up here in the booth. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal race out there. Well, it looked like David was keeping you honest throughout most of that. He seemed to make a little bit of a break, but coming from the back of the grid, it was always going to be a little bit of a tough competition trying to come back through here. But was it as easy as you was expecting it to be?
No. Like for the first few laps, I had to really take my time and not run into the back of anyone. That being said, but I just took my time, and then as soon as I got past David, I started green lighting it a little bit, and then even after that scrubby little damage that cost me speed reduction, I still was out there logging laps, making sure I don't lose a ton of time. Yeah, because if I pitted, and it would probably be in a different spot right now.
Yeah, but you managed to make that damage work until you came in for your pit stop, and then that left you, maybe 4 or 5 seconds behind David, and then playing the catch-up game. You caught him, you made the pass, but it did seem like for a little while that he was going to stay with you towards the end, but it looked like traffic come into play there.
Definitely. That was the key part of that whole race was traffic. As soon as I got by one and got by him, you know, it was pretty much checkmate. As soon as I extended it out to 1 second, it was a heck of a battle. But yeah, that was definitely the key part of the race.
Yeah, it certainly looked like that. And now, moving on now, any of the tracks that you're now looking forward to coming back to, or that you're looking forward to in the next part?
Definitely looking forward to next week, which is Road Atlanta. I'm not sure.
Yep.
But and also the 2-hour Red Bull, because who doesn't love Red Bull?
That would be me, Mason. I really don't like that track.
I prefer Monster myself.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand it. I mean, it's another iconic track. I mean, and the Red Bull Ring, it's just one of those tracks that I can never seem to be able to get never seem to be able to get it down. It always seems to throw me for a loop somewhere or the other. You know, I seem to take the same line every time around at the same place, and then I'll go through the same corner with the same line, and all of a sudden I'll be off. So yeah, it's one of those love-hate relationship. It loves to hate me. All right then, Mason. Well, before I let you go, is there anybody who you want to give a shout out to, my friend?
Absolutely, to you guys on the broadcast, repping CRN as always, and to the competitors, to a healthy 20-pack all this season. I'm looking forward to the changes next season. And with that being said, thank you.
All right then, my friends, a pleasure having you. A great race, great first place. Another superb display, Mason.
Thank you very much.
You're a winner here tonight in the LMP3 Class 6 of Mason Smith. Now we will start to talk about our GT3 field and what ended up being arguably the most epic battle on the track, coming to the end. And third place, the 91 of Dominique Ford. Dominique, take us through the first part of the race. It seemed like you didn't really have maybe too much in practice or in qualifying, but you started to find the pace through the race here.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Carl. That race was one to remember. I don't know what happened. Let's see. How can I say this? Lap 1, I had a slowdown through Eau Rouge. So I had to slow down. I had to serve it. Then I had an incident with another driver throughout the lap, and I got sent back pretty far. I know I had pace. I had a horrible qualifying. I just couldn't get the lap down. But like you said, throughout the race, I managed to, find more pace in the car, and that allowed me to have that amazing battle with Craig there at the end.
Yeah, so that's obviously going to lead me into my next question. I mean, just talk about what it was like battling with Craig there. I mean, you guys were throwing just all kinds of moves back and forth. I mean, Craig was putting on just an unbelievable defense there of third place. You were throwing up the inside of the source, trying to get the runs in there. I mean, just back and forth. It just seemed like none of you were going to give up on there, and you were able to squeak out at the end. But just talk me through what was going through your head and through that battle.
It was a lot. It actually started further back before the pit stop. I was closing in on him before the pit stop, and I was hoping that maybe I could get him before the pit stop so I'd be ahead of him, because I knew off the bat I was going to take tires, because the incident I had earlier in the race, I was sliding and I knew the tires were going to be bad. So I was like, all right, we'll get some fresh tires on the car, get some new shoes, and then we'll go out there again. I knew it was going to be a little bit quicker than him, but I was not expecting that amazing defensive performance from Craig there. That was really good. I was very aggressive. I'll admit that. I threw some moves that I wouldn't typically do, but I wanted to get the move done before the race. I really wanted to get that third place because I knew I had the pace there from the beginning. But it was really good. I can't say much else. That was awesome. He did great. No blocking. It was really good. I can't say much.
Obviously, a good finish here for you tonight, and you kind of needed a good podium finish to keep you in the hunt for the title. Do you feel like your title hopes are still there with 3 races to go?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. It's close. It's very close. But at least when I get, either third or second, I'm cool with that. Hector's been flying these past few races, so I expect for him to continue that. But I'm cool with taking home a P3, P2. I'm cool with that.
Absolutely, and like I said, I mean, in a night that it seemed like you were maybe just a little bit off, at least in practice and qualifying, but you get it done here, you get your podium. So congrats on the finish here, and
thank you.
And your win of what I dubbed the war here between Craig and you get it done here. You win the final battle and win the war. But so congrats on the third. Anybody you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Yes, like always, thanks to you guys for doing live and broadcasting. It's awesome. Great stuff. Keep up the good work. And to Craig and to the rest of the field, great racing out there. Great racing with Craig. Keep up the good work, because that was really good driving there from him. Wasn't expecting that, if I'm being honest, but he put on the show for me, that's for sure.
Well, again, another podium here for you on the season. Certainly going to help you out in the points and hopefully keep it close for you heading into next week at Road Atlanta. So we will see you there.
Yes, likewise. Have a good night.
That is your third place finisher in the GT3, the 91 of Dominique Ford. Now we'll move over to second place finisher, and that is going to be the 221 of Pal Kaskin. And Pal, kind of a quiet race for you, and it just seemed like you were just logging in the laps. It didn't seem like anybody had the pace for Hector here tonight. But you made your way, and you seemed like you were the clear second best car out here tonight. So are you happy with the finish here? Are you happy to just kind of log a good points night?
Yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with the position I achieved today. I know I didn't have too much for Hector. I mean, at the end, I was basically even with him. I think that's because he didn't take any tires, but it is what it is. Can't beat them all.
Absolutely, and it seems like Hector may be a little tough to beat altogether, going 3 for 3 here. But I mean, talk about where this puts you as far as the title battle. Obviously, you came in here tonight in second place, but with Timothy Ponzi not here tonight, it'll move you into first most likely. I mean, the drop races, will fall where they fall, but another good finish, another top 3. And it's got to feel good heading into the last quarter of the season.
Yeah, it definitely is. Hopefully, all the other races turn out well.
So is the goal at this point to just kind of be in the right position heading into the final? I mean, obviously, the points race being as close as it is, probably a little bit too late for somebody to run away with it, one way or the other, with the double points looming at the final.
I believe so. I know Parks is up there, and then Ponzi as well. Not sure if I'd be able to even. They would have to finish down below, but I doubt that's going to happen.
Well, either way, you keep clicking off these good finishes here, and the chips will fall where they fall. But a good finish here tonight, a good second place. Started P2, finished P2, and it didn't seem like there was there was really any competition for you to even lose that second place. So good drive out here tonight. Anybody you want to give a shout out to or thanks to before we let you go?
Shout out to you guys. You guys do a fantastic job here. And shout out to my team, 2-on-2 Racing.
All right. Well, once again, congrats on the second place here tonight, and we'll see you next week at Road Atlanta.
Yep. Thank you.
At your second place finisher here tonight, the 221 of Pal Casca. And now finally we will finish with our winner here tonight, and going 3 for 3 and maybe 4 for 4 there is going to be
Ducks.
Yeah, ducks on the pond. Hector Colazzo. Talk to us about the race here tonight. It seemed like you had the pace from practice, from qualifying, and then obviously pretty dominant here in the race. And you get it done here tonight. Is there any stopping you before the end of the season here, or is it just you're just kind of happening on these tracks that you're really feeling comfortable with?
for Spa today, honestly, that 24 really helped me because as soon as I got in that car, my mind was engraved with that 24-hour pace. And I don't think I'm going to win. I think I can win Road Atlanta, but I don't think I can win Suzuka and Red Bull Ring, as those are my weaknesses, since I hate those tracks with a passion.
How do you really feel?
Yeah, for...
Well, I mean, you get it done here tonight in a pretty dominating fashion. You got out to the lead and really no mistakes, and that's really the big thing here at Spa. I mean, did you find any kind of issues? We've seen maybe once or twice you get just a little bit sideways, but any issues with the X's? I know they can pile up pretty quickly here.
Yeah. At the end when I was doing my burnouts, I had an 18X officially at the end. So yeah, I think those X's kind of. I don't think they survived very well from today.
Well, a good job here tonight, and as you said, we got Road Atlanta, Suzuka, and Red Bull Ring to finish out, and we talked about it last week. I mean, if you come in here and you're winning every week, there's still the chance at the at the championship here, and especially with the finale being the 2-hour double points finale. So still a chance to get in there. Are you just looking at taking it week by week right now and trying to just log in a good race and grab another win?
Yeah, honestly, Road Atlanta, that's my most excited race. I think I'll have hopefully the best place, but Suzuka and Red Bull Ring I'm not that excited about, especially Red Bull with a 2-hour race, which I'm not excited at all.
All right, well, you got some time to at least get some practice laps in if you need to, but a great win here again, and again, 3 for 3 here on this season, so congrats to that as well. Anybody you want to give a shout out to or thanks to before we let you go?
I want to thank Wyatt for screaming half the time in VC after that first lap, and yeah, I feel bad for Dane though for wrecking out. I really wanted him to race against Paul, so Paul and him can wreck out, so I can just win easier.
Well, either way, a nice 13-second victory is good enough here. But congrats again on your win, and we will see you next week at Road Atlanta.
Yep, thank you. Good night, guys.
That is your winner here tonight in the GT3 class, the 0-2 of Hector Colazzo. And again, I'm a big fan of Spa. Mark, I know you are. Jimmy, I know it holds a nice spot for you as well. I mean, it was just fantastic battles, throughout both the classes here. It was awesome seeing the battle for the win there in the LMP3, and even the battle for third place ended up being pretty awesome there at the end. And then you had the battle for third place in the GT3, which was, it just kind of put it right over the top.
Yeah,
I think I had the.
Go ahead, sorry, Jimmy.
No, so I being out there on the track, I ended up spinning. I just checked up for Matt and kind of. I didn't want to ruin his race because I was just kind of hanging in the back, and I ended up spinning a little bit. Then I ended up blowing in the bus stop, and I shot across, took my fast repair, and I came back out. But when I was catching up to the GT3s, these drivers out here, and this track, yes, is near and dear to our heart. This track can be technical about carrying your speed and running around here, but the drivers that I think I passed all the GT3 drivers, and all I gotta say is kudos. You guys are doing awesome, and I can tell the difference from some of the beginning races or previous seasons with another, like a faster car coming up on a slower car, or well, these cars are pretty close, but just the difference of racing together for the past couple of seasons. And I wanted to congratulate everybody because it's a big feat, and then keep coming out here week in, week out, and giving it their best.
Yeah, I was just about to say I completely agree with Jimmy here. You can see the improvement in just driver standards in general. I mean, some of these drivers are just coming on leaps and bounds, and they're more aware of what's happening around them. You see it as they're coming down the straight. A lot of these GT3 cars were just as quick, if not a little bit quicker. We saw some higher top speeds from the GT3s than they were some of the LMP cars, and yet, every time the LMP car wanted to make a move, the GT3 car stuck to his line. It was all down on the LMP cars to make the move around. And that's what they did. And it just goes to show just how far a lot of these drivers have come.
Yeah, these guys have certainly put on a good show week in and week out, but especially here. And yeah, like you said, I mean, it's of course you're going to have some off tracks, you're going to have some issues here at Spa. We did see a couple fatalities there from some of the drivers, but these guys are pushing the limits, and it gives you that opportunity when you've put in those laps, you put in that time, you've put in all those races. Not only do you get more aware of your surroundings from the other drivers, but you kind of get a little bit more in tune to the car, in tune to the track, and for better or worse, it gives you that little bit more confidence to run even harder. And that's when faster laps can come into play, but also some mistakes can come into play, and that's where you need to learn from what you did wrong and try and figure out, if it's something that you did or something that you didn't enter the corner properly, you didn't brake properly, whatever it is, not just throw it away and say, oh well, I screwed up, I made a mistake, and I binned the car. It is what it is. Now figure out what you did wrong, why you did it wrong, correct it for the next time, and it may be a corner that's completely different. You might have screwed up on a tight right hairpin here. The same thing could happen on a nice little easy left hand curb on a curve on the next track if you take it the incorrect way again. So just learn from your mistakes is the best that I can tell these guys out here. But I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Unfortunately, some bad news for you, Mark, is that we're going to have to wait another week, as we've got the Labor Day week next week. So we are actually off and not going to have another race until September 11th. So hope you guys can wait that long. I mean, I'm going to be, I'm grinding my teeth just, thinking about the fact that I put that little gap in the schedule, because it's just starting to heat up here. I mean, these guys came in with a 1-point gap in between the LMP3 field and a 5-point gap in the GT3. And I don't think it's going to stretch out by that much going into Road Atlanta in 2 weeks. But that's what we got on the docket for the Core GT series presented by Pointer Motor Supplies. Again, if you need anything AMSOIL, whether it's commercial, personal, or you want to become a AMSOIL dealer yourself, get in touch with Kelly over there at Pointer Motor Supplies. It's been fun here at Spa. Boys, I know you had some fun. Jimmy, you probably didn't have as much fun, and you're probably a little bit hurting right now after this race. But you made it. You got it done. And I was keeping an eye on those standings, and you were going to get shit if you didn't pass all those GT3 cars. So congrats on finishing 6th place overall ahead of all the GT3s. But that was a great race by all these guys, and I'm already looking forward to 2 weeks from now as we head to Road Atlanta for myself, for Mark, and for Jimmy. We'll see you at the track. 1 second, Carl. Yep. One second before you push this on live. The west side of the peninsula of Florida, there's a storm heading that way. So just wish everybody the best of luck. And if you can, get out of the way of that thing. Don't mess with them hurricanes. And stay safe.